Good evening, everybody. Dr. Glow here for Black Girl Everything. Very, very excited to have you all here. So it's a mini expo experience is an opportunity that I meet with amazing BIWOC-owned businesses and talk about what they're doing in their brand so we can kind of get to know them, support them, and make sure their brands are going in the right direction. So I'm very excited today for this interview because I have somebody else from my hometown, money earning Mount Vernon, on with me to talk about their organization and what they got popping. So Precious, please, please, please tell everybody about yourself. Well, I tell them your name. You can repeat it if you like.
Okay, hi everybody. My name is Precious. I am from Mount Vernon, born and raised. I am an author, a mental health worker, a
Mhm.
writer, community advocate slash worker. Um, so I guess you can say I'm all over with everything I do. I have two self-published books. I
Mhm.
have a blog that I write on weekly, and I also write poetry. And I
Yes.
guess that's it.
Well, I've been watching you since you were younger. I feel as if I remember Precious when Precious was like a teen worker for like the youth
Uh-huh.
youth
Yeah.
borough. Like that's how long you have been around, like making impact within our community. So I'm very excited to talk to you about that today. So where should we begin? Let's talk about what's the name of your actual business though, and your brand.
Okay, so my brand name slash writer name is Sounds of Joi.
Hmm.
Um, so I basically got that started like late 2019, early 2020. Joy is my middle name, so I incorporated that into my writing. And what I always say to people is like, my writing isn't just for me to express myself. It's also a way for other people to feel seen or feel heard or like have their feelings or their thoughts put into words, because a lot of people aren't good with expressing themselves, and I'm not even good at it. Like verbally, I know I can do better, but I find myself finding it easier to put it into words and express myself that way. So that's where the sounds got incorporated into, because um it's not just writing. It's like you're reading it, you're listening to the words when you are reading it. It's like I said, a voice of reason for some people. So that's where the name came from. And it just stuck ever since then.
Dope, 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 dope. Very, very excited about that. So what genre of writing do you do?
Um, I don't really have one particular thing. So
Mm-hmm.
my poetry, it can range from like talking about love to talking about Black history to talking about
Mm-hmm.
like what's going on in the real world. My blog, it's pretty much the same thing. I try to incorporate pieces that'll like uplift the Black community or inform the Black community about just different things in life. Like one article I wrote about was Black women deserve good health care too. That was the title of it. And
Mm-hmm.
it talked about my personal experience, not really receiving good health care,
Yeah.
when I would go out to doctors and stuff like that. And I talked about the mortality rates in Black women when they go to doctors as well. Um, Another one recently that I did was talking about the 13th Amendment and how a lot of people don't realize that like there's a loophole in the 13th Amendment when it comes down to Black people, and us still being enslaved, just not like, in the fields or at somebody's home, but in the prison system, because that loophole, like, it goes over a lot of people's head. So little things like that I talk about because a lot of people may not have that background knowledge or know
Mm-hmm.
about what's going on within our own communities. And then my books, the first book I came out with was a children's book, and
Okay.
it was titled I Am Somebody: Positive Affirmations for Kids. And it was just like the letters of the alphabet with affirmations attached to it. So that way, like, it was catered towards younger kids so they can learn how to read, learn their alphabet, have
Mm-hmm.
pictures to go with the words. And then my second book was all of my poems comprised into one book.
Dope, 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 dope. That seems like a lot of work at your very young, youthful age
It
thus
is,
far.
but I enjoy it. I enjoy it. Yeah.
No, I think it's all very exciting. I think it's all very exciting, all the work that you're currently doing and the work that you're creating and you're producing, especially in our community, especially around your level of advocacy within our community. So I see you usually when I'm on like a lot of the city meetings around different stuff, there's such a Precious, what do you have to say? It's like they tap
Yeah,
your shoulder like royalty to hear your voice and bring you into the space. And that's a powerful thing, right? For people to trust your knowledge and your experience enough to tap you in to start
yeah.
talking about that stuff, right? So talk to me about your advocacy. Why do you think advocacy is so important in your community?
Um, to me, it's a lot of different things. Like one of the most important things being that, like, the generations before us didn't come in and do the work that they did and fought as hard as they did for us to still remain stagnant in different areas of our community. Another reason is because I'm a young person, and like I said, I was born and raised here in Mount Vernon. My grandmother was born and raised here. My great grandmother was raised here. My great great grandmother came here to live. Like it's lineage here for me, so it's not just like,
Mm-hmm.
oh, I just live here, let me try and do something to change. Like, no, this is who I am, this is where I come from, so it's important for me to continue that path of legacy. Whether if I leave here tomorrow or I leave here 5 years from now and move somewhere else, like I still want my work that I do to continue. And it's not just about me, but it's also about the other people that live here, like my peers, kids, people who want to live here. Like we can't stop with just us, because once we're gone from here and we need somebody else to step in and do the work and do what needs to be done for us, like who's going to be around to do it? It's also about making a change here. One of the biggest things that I get on people about is, you can't sit around and just talk about it and not do anything about it.
Mm-hmm.
And I see that a lot, like on Facebook or Instagram. Like people will say, oh, Mount Vernon does this or they don't do that or whatever, whatever. And it's like, okay, you can be frustrated, but I don't ever see you at meetings or I don't ever see you at community events. So if
Yeah.
you're that frustrated, like get up and do something about it. Um, and that's pretty much it, like just making a difference in my community, showing up for my community, because I can't live here and spend my dollars here, go out to different places here, and then not give back in some way, shape, or form for my community.
I'm 100% with you. 100% with you. And I think people thought it was crazy when I moved back here in 2007. And they was like, you coming back to Mount Vernon? I'm like, yeah, that's where I'm from. What do you mean? Like, it's
Right.
one of the greatest places on earth. It was like even after I got my doctorate, oh, you're gonna still work at a daycare center, an early childhood center? Yes, because they deserve to have me. They're from my community, right? And
Right.
I bleed Mount Vernon, bleed Mount Vernon. And even when I was looking for property and stuff like that, I looked in Mount Vernon. I was very intentional about when I wanted to buy my house because I wanted to pay taxes into a community that I love, even though they're way too high. But I wanted to be right here in a community that I love. 7 minutes from my job, like just being rooted in where I'm from and being rooted in the people like you who are doing the work out here and really standing up for our community, trying to save lives on a day-to-day basis. And talking about saving lives, as we come out of the pandemic, we're going into 2024 here, and we're just now really getting out of, COVID-19 era of time, even though it still exists. But talk to me
Hmm.
as a mental health professional right now, where are we at now in our community based off of post-COVID?
Um, I'd say it's still hard. We're still trying to recover. Currently, I am a case manager working with kids throughout Westchester County who receive mental health services. I just started this role in September, but previously, I was clinic based. So I worked in a clinic in Mount Vernon, and the need for a lot of different things was so large, and there weren't enough resources all the time to help everybody who needed it. So, like, we had food insecurities. We had people who were like this close away from getting their lights cut off, or not having, people don't even have like soap to bathe with or do their laundry with.
Mm,
So it's like little things like that, to where we may not be affected by it, but there are people who are affected by it. And it's like, well, what are we supposed to do for them? Because there are only but enough pantries or enough supplemental income coming in from the state or the county. Like, what else is there to be given out? And then that's just like the needs, the daily living needs. So we're tackling that, and then we're still tackling dealing with our mental health, and the two coincide together, because if your daily needs aren't being met, like you want them to or you need them to, that's weighing in on your mental health as well. And now that I'm working in the space I'm in now, because I was working with adults before, now I work solely with kids again. It's hard to see them going through some of the things that they're going through. Like they feel like nobody cares about them. They feel like they don't
mhm.
have anyone to talk to. Like they're just dealing with school stuff and life stuff. So now when those two start to collide, like it becomes greater on them as well. And these kids are 14, 15, 16 years old and they're like the head of household. They have to go out and work or help
Mhm.
mom provide or grandma provide. Like it's really hard. And we're seeing like a lot of hospitalizations because parents don't really have like the resources to give their kids because the parents are struggling as well. So if the parents are struggling, and then it's going down to their kids and their kids are already suffering with mental health issues, where does that lead everyone? Like it's just a revolving door pretty much. So if the parents don't have the resources that they need, and that's not even just like I mentioned earlier, like soap or money for
Yeah.
food, like it's just understanding what mental health even is. So if you don't have that knowledge in your head already, and then you're dealing with a kid or multiple kids who have mental health issues, where does that leave the both of you? So I think the biggest issue is just more resources. There aren't enough social workers. There aren't enough therapy resources. Like it's a backlog for almost every agency.
Hmm.
They don't really pay well for social workers. So people like, well, I'm gonna go here, I'm gonna go there, knowing that I can make more money for the work that I do. And then
Yeah.
people are having like 30 case loads per client or per social worker or whatever. So it's really hard out here.
Yeah, no, I know directly because even a lot of the work that we do at the school, around especially getting children with especially children with differing abilities, around getting speech and OT and special instruction and all this other stuff. I was at the school district the other day because I have so many kids who can't even get to specialized school programs because of this influx of kids who need services post-COVID. The
Hmm.
rising height of children being diagnosed with autism right after COVID. Like there's so many things going on in our community that these kids are really suffering, right? I have
Hmm.
a school with a population where 50% of my population has IEP or IFSP. I shouldn't have 10 kids who go to specialized school, but 8 kids in program getting services, and then another 5 kids I suspect with an issue. Right. And that's
Right.
what it is constantly in my space. But the bigger problem is there's not enough therapists. And I
Right.
was advocating, I was like, listen, what are we going to do in this community? What are we going to do with the school district? What are we going to do with the city to make sure that we're building out opportunities? Like a lot of young folks don't know that you can go be a speech pathologist and make $125 an hour and
Hmm.
go play with some kids and teach them to talk.
Hmm.
But if they're not exposed to those careers or know about those careers that's not what they're looking for. And I think that's the issue with
Right.
social work. People don't
Right.
understand that in human services, you can do so many different things, go in so many
Hmm.
different ways, and your communities need that type of work. But it's like early childhood educators. There's no real funding coming in. I think Governor
Absolutely.
Hochul is one of the first ones I've seen. I've been doing this for over 20 years. Who literally 20 years. It's been a while. Over 20 years I've been doing this work. And she's the first one that I've seen that actually has made real initiatives to actually pay or increase the pay rate of early childhood educators. The
Right.
first one. And that was last year in 2022.
Right.
So it's like it's just bad out here. And I get you with because there's not enough resources. I'm looking for
Hmm.
resources all the time for my families. I have plenty of families who are on these waiting lists of these mental health clinics who need
Hmm.
support and who need stuff. And that was interesting about that laundry detergent line and busy about washing themselves with soap. Because I was having a conversation with somebody earlier today about how they didn't have soap.
Hmm.
Like, what do you mean you don't have soap?
And
The things you
then
take
they're
for granted.
raising the cost of everything as well.
Yeah.
Like every time I go to buy soap, I'm like, do I need this brand of soap? Like, what's going on? Like, soap is like $12, and that's just for the liquid soap, not even the bar. Like, I can understand if it's a 6 pack for like $11. Okay, cool. But the bar soap is cheaper than the liquid soap. So it's like, how do you expect people to really like afford that? Because a lot of people don't work. A lot of people only receive that subsidized monthly income every month. And if you have more than one child, that can only stretch but so far.
Mm,
And
mm.
then even with the hospitalizations, like they have to wait for beds to become available for kids to be hospitalized in some hospitals out here. So it's like it's just a lack of everything all around the board for everyone.
Yeah, yeah, I can dig that. I can definitely dig that because sometimes these kids, it's the simplest things because someone can go for a 7-day hold and walk out and have a whole brand new life,
Hmm.
right? With proper diagnosis and supports and potentially proper medications and all those different things. But if they're home spinning out of control for 6 months to a year and a half waiting for a bed, figure all the drama and stress that happens within
Hmm.
drama that's going to be created within that household because everybody's not getting the support that they need. The family's not getting the
Right.
support, the child's not getting the support, no one is getting the support because everybody's just sitting there waiting. So
Right.
I dig you when it comes down to like the resources being such a big deal because they are in all of our communities, right? This is why,
Mhm.
your writing matters. This is why the work that my nonprofit, the Daisy Dream Project matters, and me working still at Colin Allen matters, or Destination Tomorrow matters, all my different contracts is because these particular people deserve to have people advocating for them
Mhm. Yeah,
in these particular
absolutely.
communities. Yeah, so that's definitely dope. So where do you see yourself going as a published author? Let's get back to your books.
Um, Honestly, I did it just to do it, not just to do it, but to put my work out there.
Hmm.
So when I first started writing, like I was very self-conscious about my writing because I'm like, I want to be just as good as this person, or I want to sound like good for people to actually read it and take me seriously and stuff. But one of my dreams was to always have my poetry be published in a book. So that one was like really special to me. My kids' book, like everyone knows I love kids. I love working with kids. I
Hmm.
love helping kids grow. So that one wasn't more of a feeling for myself. It was more so seeing like the smile on other kids' faces, seeing representation in the book as well, because I tried my best to make sure if there were characters in the book, they were black or brown kids in that book. So that way we could see ourselves in the book. So for my writing, like I don't know if I would do another book self-published. I feel like right now I'm more so into blogging more.
Hmm.
I'm trying to like gain interviews with people so that way people can see like maybe businesses within the community or just see the work that people are doing in their everyday lives. And like I said, spreading information within my community because we have to find it out from somewhere, some way, somehow.
I wouldn't
And
do.
sometimes it's a lot of misinformation that gets put out there. So the books are kind of like on hold. Like, of course, I'm always gonna push them out there, like try to spread the word that I have them. But I feel like now it's time for me to go back to putting the work in and like spreading information, showing people that it's more to life than what we see in like everyday media or on social
Hmm.
media. It's people out there like me who actually care about us and want to see us do better, want to see us advance in life. And yeah, that's where I am now with my writing.
Okay, I can dig that. That's why I do the work I do with these interviews.
Yeah,
Prime example, why I started this back in 2020 was just
yeah.
ultimately just to talk about what people do. Now I know even more about you and the work that you're doing and what you're doing in real life. I see you all the time. I'm telling you on every single forum. Every time I pop up in a meeting, you're right there. And I didn't know all these really interesting things about you and your brand and all the great work that you're really doing, even for yourself. And to realize that people realize that you can be an advocate for your community and a published author and work in mental health and
Mhm.
also just be young and doing it all and figure out what you want to do in the future. So where do you see yourself in 5 years?
So, whew, that's a tough question. In 5 years, I'm gonna be 30. I feel so old just
First of all,
even
you're like 12.
saying that. I know, but 30 is right there. Like 2024 is right here. I'm gonna be 26. 4 more years, I'm gonna be 30. Like I'm still trying to wrap my mind around it. But within the next 5 years, I will have my master's. I'm actually going back to school to finish my master's in social work. So I'm gonna have that.
Hmm.
Um, Hopefully working in a hospital or working in a school. I'm still trying to decide which route
Oh,
I
which
want
one
to
you're going to
go
be
in.
running?
Um, Possibly, but yeah,
Not possibly, yes.
yeah. So that's about it because I think I'll be 27 or 28 when I finish my master's. So I'm like teetering to 30 around there. I actually would love to be like traveling with my work as well. Like um
Mm.
one thing I'm trying to incorporate together is mental health and writing. So I'm about to come out with a mental health digital journal as well. So I kind of incorporated like some of my writing into that, created like a planner, gave people the opportunity to like write out their day, their goals and stuff. But what I want to do in the
That sounds like
future,
workshops and being a public speaker.
yeah, so that's
Hmm.
what
Sounds like
I'm trying
contracts.
to,
Hmm.
yeah, that's
Hmm.
what I'm trying to formulate
That's not what I'm
now.
trying. That's what I'm going to do.
Yes, that's what I'm going to do in the future. because writing, like I mentioned earlier, like it's a big form of self-expression, and I feel like that's what a lot of the youth need today, is a positive way to express their emotions, because the first thing they go to is anger when they're trying to express their emotions, or
Yeah.
the physicality of everything. And it doesn't have to be all of that. It can be writing a song, it can be writing a poem, it can be writing a story, like it can be a journal entry. So like the little things like that are what can make a difference and change people's trajectory of life and their everyday living. Um, so yeah, I feel like that's one of the main things that I'll be working on moving forward, trying to incorporate a curriculum centered towards that. And I feel like within 5 years, I can make it happen and be traveling to do that, going to different schools, teaching possibly at different schools with that curriculum. And I think that's it.
That's dope. That's dope. And I'm hearing this lane of language around a lot of people, because I think that's where everyone is now, is about what frameworks can you create that's actually going to actually build impact and save the world. Because I've been having that same similar conversation with multiple people, that they're doing this work, right? They know this work is going to be able to actually help people. So they want to go travel different spaces and speak about it and talk about it and be of their framework, right? And that's
Right.
really the language that you're using there. And it's not about what you're trying, what you can do. Yes, you can lead schools, start schools, open schools, support schools, but you also can leave the space at times and support others through your framework and the work of mental health around poetry and creative arts, and how that actually generates another opportunity for children to release all that tension they have are unable to release on their own. Basically, they
Right.
lack the language and lack the home environment that supports them to release anything.
And
So
emotional
all that makes sense.
security as well. Yeah, a
Yeah,
lot of kids don't have
insecurity is
emotional
what it
awareness.
is. I was an
Mm-hmm.
insecure kid. Look at this face. I was insecure. Not
Mm-hmm.
anymore, but I
Look,
was.
don't be. Your black is beautiful.
Thank you. But
No,
even with me, and then unfortunately, a lot of people of color, especially people who are successful, they suffer from imposter syndrome
mm-hmm.
constantly, and that's me. I have to remind myself, look at my mirror, like, you are great, you are wonderful, you
That's
are
me.
100% complete. You don't need anything else, right?
That is
So,
definitely me. Yeah, I struggle with imposter syndrome on a daily. And that's why when you said you didn't know I did so many different things, I laughed to myself, because like everyone says you need to put yourself out there more, but I'm just very humble and I rather the work I do speak for itself, because
mhm.
that's what matters the most. I can sit here and say I do X, Y, and Z all day, but if you're not seeing me, or if I'm not really doing the work behind it, then it's like, well, how can you sit here and say you're doing this, but I don't ever see you doing anything along those lines? So it's hard for me to put myself out there. Like, and a lot of people don't know all the titles I have or all the spaces I'm in, because it's like, I don't do it for the title. I do the work because that's what I know I'm supposed to do.
Exactly. It's about the impact.
Mm-hmm.
It's about the impact. Now, I was listening earlier today, I was at the service, and one of the things that they said was like, it's all about it's about not what you say you're going to do, it's about the actions behind what you say you're going to do, about the actual actions, because that's what actually means something. Don't
Yep.
about you love this or you want this, you want this. It's about what actions are you taking to make those particular things happen. And that makes complete sense, because I can sit here and say, I love kids all day long. I like kids. I like kids. No, but the action steps that you're seeing from me is that I run this program. I stay within this program. I support the kids. I support the families. I have kids that come in my office and harass me all day long. I'm trying to work, and I entertain them every single day, because the particular
Mm-hmm.
ones who come to my office every day just to say
Yep.
hi, just to
Yep.
spend time. But those things are important, because those connections and those relationships matter. And those actions of how I'm supporting those children by giving them that space and opportunity, even when I have a lot of stuff to do sometimes, it's going to be powerful for them moving
Absolutely.
forward, because it means a lot to know that somebody's going to take time from their busy schedule to entertain the fact that I just want to play the special Legos that are in your office.
Exactly. And the same thing happened to me yesterday. I was out sick from work, but I'm still taking calls on my work phone because something happened with one of my kids at their school. And I'm like, in my mind, I'm like, today's my off day. Why am I even answering the phone? But it's like, at the same time, they felt comfortable enough to call me and reach out to me like, hey, this happened. Can you please talk to my child about whatever? I'm like, all right, whatever. Like, I'll talk to her. It's not that big of a deal. But I was like, let me not answer my phone tomorrow because I'm
Mhm.
sick and I need to take care of me first. But it's the work we signed up to do. Like there are no off days to me when it comes down to mental health and helping kids out with whatever it may be, a good day, a bad week. Like they come first in my mind. Like in my eyes, the work comes
Mhm.
first. It's the quick phone call.
Yeah, I
I can go
agree.
back to my
I
day
agree. People's
after.
like, yo, what's your work schedule at work? Well, I wake up at 6 a.m. and I probably go to bed about 9:30. What's your work schedule? I wake up at 6 a.m. and I go to bed about 9:30. And that's really what it is. Parents reach out to me in between 6 a.m. all the way to 9 o'clock at night if they really need me. I'm there. Because
Hmm.
that's how you have to be for people, right? Because you got to,
Hmm.
because that one simple conversation might take 3 minutes, but that 3 minutes might save their whole 5 hours. That
Right.
simple thing, that simple thing. So it's just really important to be there for people and be supportive people, but also remember to take care of yourself because I'm
Right.
not answering any phone calls next week.
I don't believe you.
12 o'clock Friday, I'm off the clock. I'll see you
Uh-huh.
guys in January. See
Absolutely.
y'all in January off the clock because it's going to be me time, family time. That's it.
Hmm.
Family and friends. That's what I'm hanging with after 12
Absolutely.
o'clock on Friday.
Absolutely.
So they got me until then. But definitely. So how can people purchase your books?
So both of them are on Amazon. One, like I said, is titled I Am Somebody, Positive Affirmations for Kids. And my name will pop up on it. And if you click on my name, you can also see like the other book, my other book on there as well.
Mm-hmm.
But if you want to just type that in, it is titled My Black and My Blues, and you can put my name after it and it should pop up. If not, you can go directly to my Instagram. It's at underscore Sounds of Joy, and it's Joy with an I. And I have the link in my bio right there, and you can find all of like my work there. So you can find like my books, my poetry, my blog, anything in regards to my writing is all on there.
That is wonderful, Precious. I want to thank you so much for sharing space with me in
Of
between
course.
all your sniffles and all your almost sickness. I thought I was
Yeah.
not feeling well. You're feeling worse than me.
Worse, worse. I woke up yesterday like, what is going
Yeah,
on?
I'm gonna go
But
downstairs and be like this, like, can't
hmm go mute for like 24 hours.
talk. I am. I'll talk again tomorrow. So I'm going to bed after this call. But no, but thank you so much for sharing your space with me. I really appreciate the conversation. It was
Thank you for
amazing.
having me.
It
Yes,
was
yes.
amazing. And I look forward to doing future work with you.
Of course, I'm always available
Yeah, because
anytime, and
we
thank
repping
you for
money,
having
earning Mount
me.
Vernon. Ah,
Absolutely. Mount Vernon, Southside, do or die all day, every day.
you're so silly. Oh, I like that South Side do or die. I work on the
Yeah,
South Side. I don't live on the South Side.
I've always lived on the South Side.
Yeah. I grew up,
Hmm.
well, I actually grew up in between.
Okay.
Always, always. I went to Trap Hagen for school. So at
Okay.
my aunt's house, my aunt's address. Well, that's where I
Okay.
lived. When it was just my aunt's address. But yeah, it was my aunt's address. I went to Trap Hagen. But yeah, but I definitely rep my city, love my city. But I love working on the South Side.
Yeah.
I'd be over there every single day, hanging with my peoples.
Yeah. I love the South Side. There's no other
Mhm.
place like the South Side. You
No,
see
no,
something new every
no other
day.
place in the whole wide world, actually.
Mm-mm. Nope.
This was great. So everybody who's watching on Facebook, thank you all for tuning in. For those, I'm Dr. Glow from Black Girl Everything. You want to find this video later, you can go to my YouTube channel, which is you can follow as Black Girl Everything. Please make sure you subscribe. There's another, now I think it's 100 and your video number 883, something random like that. So
Wow.
please go on there and check out all the other videos on my YouTube channel. Look forward to the release of the Black or Everything magazine that will be out this Friday afternoon. You guys will get to sneak peek on the digital magazine for this year. And then also make sure you remember the VIP Collective is super, super dope. It's our membership opportunity for people to actually get exposure in the magazine, as well as apply for the BGE Dream Grant, which we give out 3 times a year. So thank you all for tuning in. Until then, see you all later. Bye-bye.
Good night.